Kanan just killed Taz with his own hands. And in the very next breath, Breeze looked him dead in the eye and said something that changed everything. They are both sons of the same man, DefCon. Two boys who grew up on opposite sides of Queens, both carrying the same blood, both hungry for the same throne. Nobody saw this coming. Not the fans, not even the people closest to Kanan. And now, with only 4 episodes left before this show ends forever, that one reveal is about to blow the entire war wide open. Rock is not stupid. She knows her son is not done with her. She knows Stefano wants payback for what she did, or what she failed to do. And the scariest part is this. Stefano and Kanan are now working together, quietly, behind her back, building something that could end her for good. This is not just a turf war anymore. This is a mother watching her own son turn into a monster she cannot stop. Episode 5 is called School of War, and that title is not random. It means something deeper than just guns and money. It means Kanan is finally learning the real lessons of power, the cold, ugly ones that Rock tried to protect him from his entire life. So what happens when the student becomes more dangerous than the teacher? What happens when Rock realizes the people she trusted were never really on her side? And what does Jukebox know that could burn this whole family down before the season even ends? Stick around, because exactly where this war is heading, and why episode 5 might be the most important hour of the entire final season. Let's slow down and really look at where things stand right now, because every side of this war has changed in ways that... Now let's talk about Rock. She has spent her whole life being the smartest person in every room, but right now, for the first time, she is playing catch-up. Her new network is not the fortress she thought it was. The people she brought in are not loyal to her, they are loyal to the money. That is a dangerous position for someone who built her entire reign on trust and fear. If her allies are only sticking around because of profit, the moment things get risky, they will disappear, or worse, they will turn on her. And her enemies are not slowing down. If anything, they are getting more desperate. And desperate people make dangerous moves. So picture the board right now. On one side, you have Kanan, Breeze, Snaps, Pop, and Stefano, a group that looks unstoppable on the surface, but is held together by secrets and blood ties that could snap at any moment. On the other side, you have Rayek, alone in a way she has never been before, surrounded by people who do not actually have her back. This is not a fair fight anymore, and that is exactly what makes it so tense to watch. The real question going into episode 5 is simple. Does Rock find a way to turn this imbalance around, or has Kanan already won this war before a single shot is even fired? Keep that question in your mind, because everything we talk about next is going to build directly off of this shift in power. Now let's really break down the reveal that changed everything, because this is not just a shocking twist. It is a ticking time bomb sitting right in the middle of Kanan's world. Breeze telling Kanan that they share the same father is one of those moments that looks like it brings two people closer. But if you really think about it, it might be doing the exact opposite. Blood does not always mean loyalty in this story. Rock and her brothers proved that over and over again. Family fighting family, trust breaking down even between people who grew up in the same house. So why would Kanan and Breeze be any different? Just because they now know they came from the same man. Let's think about what this reveal actually does to Kanan emotionally. His whole life, Kanan believed his story started and ended with Rock. She was the center of everything. The one who shaped him, protected him, and also hurt him in ways he is still dealing with. Now suddenly there is a whole other side to his identity that he never knew about. A father he probably has questions about. A brother he did not grow up with, but who somehow understands the game of power just as well as he does. Maybe even better. That is not a small thing to process while you are also in the middle of an active war with your own mother. It could pull Kanan even closer to Breeze, because for the first time, he has someone in his corner who is not tied to Rock's world at all. Someone who feels like a fresh start. Or it could quietly plant doubt in his mind. Because here is the real question worth asking. Why did Breeze choose this exact moment to reveal it? Was it really about honesty? About wanting Kanan to know the truth? Or was it a calculated move? A way to bond Kanan to him at the exact moment he needed backup the most? Right after killing Taz? Right when Kanan is at his most exposed and vulnerable? Powerful men in this world do not usually share secrets for free. They share secrets when it benefits them. Now flip this around and look at it from Breeze's side. He is a new player trying to secure his place in Queens, and aligning himself with Kanan gives him instant protection, instant status, and a partner with deep roots in the streets. Calling Kanan his blood brother is not just an emotional reveal, it might be the smartest business move Breeze could have made. It ties Kanan to him in a way that is much harder to walk away from than a normal partnership. You cannot just cut off family, or at least that is what Breeze is betting on. But partnerships built on convenience have a habit of falling apart the moment convenience runs out. If Breeze's loyalty was ever tested, if he had to choose between protecting himself and protecting Kanan, which way would he go? That is the tension simmering under this entire storyline. This alliance looks strong on the outside, 3 players, Breeze, Snaps, and Pop, plus Stefano's backing, all wrapped around Kanan like armor. But alliances built this fast, this deep, and this soon after a murder tend to be fragile in ways nobody notices until it is too late. Someone in that circle is eventually going to have a reason to turn, whether it is fear, ambition, or old loyalty, pulling them back toward Rack. So going into episode 5, watch closely how Kanan treats Breeze. Does he lean into this new brotherhood completely, trusting him with things he would never tell anyone else? Or does some small part of him stay guarded, remembering that in this world, even family can pull the trigger first? That answer is going to tell us a lot about where Kanan's story is really heading before this season ends, for good. While everyone is watching the war between Kanan and Rack, there is another storyline quietly building in the background. And it might end up being more dangerous than anyone expects. Marvin is out there hunting for Unique, and honestly, this feels like one of those threads the show has been setting up slowly, on purpose, so that when it finally explodes, nobody sees it coming. Let's talk about Marvin first, because his part in this search matters just as much as Unique's. Marvin has spent this whole season carrying grief over Lulu, feeling almost lost without his brother, without a clear place in this world anymore. Chasing Unique gives him something Rack and Kanan's war does not. It gives him a purpose that belongs only to him. This is not about power or money for Marvin. Not really. This feels personal, like he needs to prove to himself that he still matters in this family, that he can still handle business the way his brother once did. That kind of emotional motivation makes Marvin unpredictable. A man fighting for power makes calculated moves. A man fighting to fill an empty space inside himself makes desperate ones. Now let's talk about Unique. This is a man who once stood on his soapbox swearing he would never leave South Jamaica, Queens, no matter what. Yet, here he is, gone, hiding, slipping away from everything he claimed he would protect. That kind of contradiction tells us something important. Unique is losing his grip, not just on his territory, but maybe on his own identity. A man who is losing control does not just disappear quietly. Sooner or later, he pushes back, especially if he feels cornered. If Marvin gets close to finding him, Unique is not going to go down without trying to take something or someone down with him. So here is the real question. What happens if Marvin actually catches up to Unique in episode 5, or very close to it? Does this become a moment of closure, Marvin finally proving himself capable of finishing what he started? Or does it become a disaster that pulls Marvin into a level of danger he is not ready for? Remember, Marvin is not naturally built like Rack or Kanan. He is not a cold, calculated killer, he thinks, with his heart more than his head. And in this world, that can get people killed. Now here is where it gets even more interesting. Think about the timing of all this. While Rock is distracted trying to survive Kanan and Stefano's growing alliance, Unique becomes a wild card sitting quietly on the side, a threat nobody is fully paying attention to. If Unique feels desperate enough, cornered enough, he could resurface in a moment that has nothing to do with Kanan's war at all, and everything to do with pure survival. Imagine if Unique's return does not just affect Marvin, but ends up disrupting the entire balance of power in Queens, right when Rock and Kanan are both too busy fighting each other to notice him coming. That is the kind of twist that hits hardest, not because it was loud and obvious, but because it was hiding in plain sight the whole time. Shows like this love planting a quiet storyline early, letting it simmer while the main war grabs all the attention, and then using it to blindside everyone at the worst possible moment. Marvin and Unique feel exactly like that kind of setup. So going into episode 5, do not sleep on this storyline just because it feels smaller than the Rack and Kanan conflict. Watch how close Marvin gets. Watch how desperate Unique's actions become, and pay attention to whether this so-called forgotten threat ends up being the spark that changes everything for both sides of this war.